What's up YouTube, back again with another new video. So by now I'm sure you've already heard about the controversial fashion collection that up-and-coming streetwear brand Bstroy debuted on Friday the 13th during New York Fashion Week. Originally I was going to post this video like around Sunday night, Monday morning when it wasn't as well known. Like at the time it was only really covered by like a couple of fashion websites, High Snobiety, and a couple of others, but in the last 24 to 48 hours, it's really blown the fuck up. Major media outlets from CNN to NBC have since posted articles criticizing 4 hoodies in particular that have the names of schools where mass shootings took place in the past 2 decades. The 4 schools that Bstroy put on their hoodies are Columbine, Virginia Tech, Sandy Hook Elementary, and Stoneman Douglas High. Photos from the show were posted on Bstroy's Instagram account around 4 to 5 days ago at the time of this recording, and were also featured on the founder/design director for the brand, Brick Owens' page. The photos showcasing the hoodies that had bullet hole style distressing on them faced almost immediate backlash and are filled with angry comments calling out the brand for trying too hard to be provocative and edgy, profiting off of tragedy, and creating something that is insensitive to the families affected by these atrocities. Though it is to be noted that there are some commenters praising the brand for calling attention to the issues of gun violence. When these pictures surfaced, a lot of you guys flooded my DMs wondering if I was going to talk about it, and I assume that's considering all the videos I've done about offensive streetwear and fashion controversies in the past, and well, here I am doing it now. But honestly, I can sit here all day and read the thousands of tweets and Instagram comments of people's disgust with the collection, but that's already been so heavily publicized enough by the mainstream media, and I would feel like I'm basically just regurgitating what they've already done. Instead, what I would like to discuss is the designers Brick Owens and Dewey Couture's response to the backlash, their apparent reasoning and inspiration for the collection, versus the general public reception and interpretation of their work. Also, there are some statements that kind of came to light, as well as some of their Instagram stories that I've been seeing that I feel like are also worth mentioning, so that's all the stuff we're about to talk about. On Brick Owens' page, his last post was of a handout or pamphlet that was probably given out during the show, which read, "Sometimes life can be painfully ironic, like the irony of dying violently in a place you considered to be a safe, controlled environment, like school. We are reminded all the time of life's fragility, shortness, and unpredictability, yet we are also reminded of its infinite potential. It is the push and pull that creates the circular motion that is the cycle of life. Nirvana is the goal we hope to reach through meditation and healthy practices that counter our destructive habits. Samsara is the cycle we must transcend to reach nirvana." And then right underneath that is just show credits. I feel like this little mission statement on how the collection was supposed to be viewed kind of ended up falling flat on its face. The way it's worded comes off as something that's supposed to be perceived as deep, intellectual, and thought-provoking, and I think that's why the vast majority of the comments on the post are viewing it as a fake deep marketing ploy that's exploiting already well-known tragic events to create buzz and interest for the brand. And honestly, I totally understand why people have come to that conclusion, but what's funny to me is that they went to the trouble of crafting this detailed, poetic explanation for the collection's inspiration, when it might have been better off just being written more simple and blunt. People don't want to feel preached to, they don't want to be fed some artsy-fartsy, arrogant shit. Sometimes simple is better. And I feel like what's written on that card gives off that kind of cliche, pompous, I'm a fashion designer vibe that the mass public is just generally turned off by. It just doesn't have that feeling of being something that's real or authentic. One recent remark in particular made by Brick in an email circulated to various news outlets like The Today Show reads, "Also built into the device is the fact that our image as young black males has not been traditionally awarded credit for introducing avant-garde ideas. So many people have assumed our message to be lazy just because of what they've been taught about black men. These hoodies were made with all these intentions in mind, and to explore all of the societal issues, not just the surface layer of gun violence in schools, but also the different ways that we relate to each other and the dated ideas that shape the assumptions we make about each other. Now, here's why this statement has to be one of the most out-of-touch remarks I've probably ever seen as a response to criticism. Upon initial backlash, I saw absolutely nobody even knowing who it was that designed these pieces. This is a fairly young brand after all, so the designers aren't exactly well known by your average American citizen who doesn't give a shit about the fashion industry. So to automatically switch it into a race-related issue is easily one of the worst deflections I've seen in recent memory and is beyond problematic. The real reason most people view this collection as lazy is because it's already been done before. FTP released their Columbine collection, like 4 years ago? And let's not forget the Kent State crew necks that got Urban Outfitters into hot water a few years back as well. So for Brick to call their hoodies avant-garde is truly laughable at best. It's not groundbreaking in the slightest, my guy. Also, Dewey posted a screenshot on his Instagram story of a DM, which unfortunately I don't have a picture of, where someone said some very racist remarks in response to the collection, and Dewey captioned it with something like, "Oh, so this is what it's all about." And I think that comment alone tries so hard to paint all the outrage as, "You're racist if you don't like our art." And quite frankly, that's just so ridiculous. As someone who posts shit online for a living, I know what it's like to regularly get stupid troll messages that can be racially insensitive and sometimes threatening, but it's so immature and irresponsible to group a few isolated messages as the overall reasoning for people not agreeing with your work. In fact, there are plenty of comments and tweets of people giving their reasons without being racist or threatening. So to nitpick like that is just not necessary, and it's not going to help your case at all. And you know what? Before I read the race-related statements, I genuinely wanted to give you guys the benefit of the doubt. Let's say you guys really did just want this to be something to spark conversation about violence in America, and that everyone just misinterpreted your real message. But by making these public rebuttals about it being about race, and people not giving you guys credit for being innovative, do you not see how that indirectly takes away from this being about the horrific tragedies, and now it's making it about yourself? Now, instead of the families and victims being the discussion, all I see are people in comment sections saying that you guys are playing victim. And even before those remarks were made, all I was really seeing for the most part were people commenting on the items being produced and how they found them distasteful. I saw damn near nobody talking about the actual shootings. Also, just a quick other thing, these incidents are talked about on the news every day and have been a part of the mainstream political conversation for the last 2 decades. So what exactly was it that you were shining a light on? Any American over a certain age already knows about these horrible events that have taken place. And I just don't see how you think that this collection adds anything new to the conversation, because it has become such a part of our culture, for worse, obviously, that all of this continues to happen. But what you're doing is just shouting into an echo chamber. You've told us nothing new. We knew that all of those schools had horrific things happen on their premises. Like, I have to go off script here because I just genuinely don't understand what you think you were doing. And coming from my personal viewpoint, do I agree with all the people saying, "Oh, cancel Bstroy, cancel Brick Owens, cancel Dewey"? Absolutely not. Because you know what else I'm sick of? I'm absolutely sick of the general populace having a disagreement with people and trying to make them lose their jobs. And I'm tired of them trying to get rid of people and sweep them under the rug for potentially making one mistake. Do I think that the collection can be interpreted as insensitive? I mean, does it even matter what I think? Because clearly a lot of people do. But your context does matter, and I want you to know that I think your context matters, but you have to word it in a different way. You have to be real, potentially release a video statement. We don't want to see some written artsy-fartsy thing that feels disingenuous. We want to hear from you guys. and see if it really is coming from a genuine place. Because when we also get a response saying that the hoodies were gonna be just a runway piece and only part of the show for art and to, you know, cause a stir, that's kind of weird, because now you're saying that's what it was originally for, it was just for the show, and maybe now we'll sell them. By saying that, you're only making people more angry. That's why it's hard to believe that this isn't a publicity stunt. But you know what? I still want to extend that olive branch. I still want to have a conversation with both of you, or just anyone who represents the brand, because let's be real. Do you think CNN and NBC, ABC, all these major media outlets are even part of this culture? They're not even a part of the fashion industry. They're not in this shit. They don't know what's going on. Maybe they're gonna twist it, and they could potentially even twist your words while you're saying them. I want to have a conversation, and I want to create a dialogue with you guys, because that's what you guys wanted in the first place, right? I want to see if I can genuinely tell if you guys actually had artistic merit behind this, or if it really was just for shock value and to get your name out there and to potentially sell hoodies that could be priced around $200. And there's just a lot of other questions that I have for you guys, but ultimately, I still don't think you should be canceled. I just think you should be more clear, and maybe next time when doing something like this, just have a bit more tact, because I mean, if it did offend family members and or survivors of these incidents, well, I mean, I guess then you ultimately failed. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Sorry for going off script and kind of ranty. Overall, like I say almost always when I do these videos, none of this stuff offends me personally. I don't want people to think that I think the brand should be canceled or blah blah. That is not the point of this video. But I do want to have a conversation with Brick or Dewey or anyone from the brand, and I want their story to be told, and I just want to hear them out. And I just want a real conversation. No pseudo-intellectual placards with mission statements or brand statements. I just want to have a real conversation and understand the place that you were coming from genuinely. And yeah, thank you guys.